de buena.
What's different between Pep Guardiola and what we're seeing at Manchester City and what we saw with Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool? Jurgen Klopp was tired. A lot of parallels can be drawn between the two guys and the way they looked and the way Jurgen Klopp looked at the end. You know, I interviewed him loads when I was a touchline reporter, you know, back in the Premier League, Champions League games.
Excuse me.
The point I'm making is the point I'm making is that from the start, when the first one to the end, he looked completely different. He looked burnt out, and he was finished. And he said in those interviews, didn't he? I just can't keep going to the well. I'm running out of energy. I need a break. I need to go to, where is it, Mallorca? He's got his holiday home and just sit there and chill out.
Yeah,
I can't believe that Pep Guardiola isn't doing the same thing.
Yeah, we don't know. It looks that way right now, but this is a guy that's going through a period in his career that he's never seen before, and that's got to be difficult, right? You're used to being at the top. Look, Pep Guardiola is not immune to walking away when he wants to walk away. We've seen this already at one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest club in the world at the time, with Barcelona. And he moved to New York and he hung out for a year and a half or 2 years, and his kids went to school here, and we didn't hear anything from Pep Guardiola. We didn't know where he was, what he was doing. He'll walk away when he wants to. I don't think Pep Guardiola gets fired. I get the sense, though, that he wants to do this one more time, especially after the comments about the 115 charges and all of that, and I'm going to be here, you know, and now he's gone through some stuff in his personal life. Let's not forget that, because we've all been in our career where you're going through things, whether it's somebody passes away, you've seen guys in the dressing room that are getting divorces from their wives. Everything has happened, right? And you know the period that you go through. So let's not discount the human side of it that he has to deal with.
That's the point where I say, for me, he just looks defeated. He looks like it's so much. And I'm not saying that Pep Guardiola should get fired. No chance. But let's be real. If it was anyone else in that situation, they definitely would have been fired. But what he's done at Manchester City is magnificent. But like I said, when you talk about the football, the energy, going in every day, dealing with this. And the thing with Pep that I think that he'll find hard is he has top-class players. They might be lacking a bit of athleticism and this and that, but when top-class players at that high level are making these mistakes and you as the manager are struggling to still find a way to motivate them, and you're bringing in new, fresh blood, and you still that with the personal stuff going on as well, it's hard to see him being very motivated to come and say, it's all going to change next year. That's why I feel for me.
Let's get some reaction from the Bernabeu. Guillem Balaguer is standing by for us. After watching that game, Guillem, it was obviously an entertaining one. Real Madrid got the job done. We're just talking here in the studio about what this means for Pep Guardiola's future. What's your sense? How damaging a defeat was this?
I spoke to Pep after the game, and I have to tell you, and I've spoken to him many times, we've done a book together. Today felt like he was talking, had put the automatic in his head, and he was talking without the feeling, perhaps, just repeating what perhaps he'd said to a couple of other interviews. And it was all about, we have to keep working, we have to congratulate Real Madrid, they were better than us. It was that kind of discourse. Because I feel that as the team, the club, himself, the director of football, everybody's decided that there's going to be a reset, that he's starting the project, the third project of his time at Manchester City. It means that he cannot say, 6 or 7 of the guys that play here, they're not going to be with me next season. It's going to be new people coming in. The summer will be a rebuild. And that's why he stayed 2 years. I hear you say about energy, and I'll tell you something interesting. I think everybody felt this was going to be Pep Guardiola's last season, including at the club. Perhaps even his closest people also felt the same. Even the FA in England felt that he was going to become the England national manager. It was 70-30, about September or so, in favour of England. But then he started to see that he was going to leave behind a team with no energy, with players that shouldn't have stayed, like Kyle Walker, perhaps players that he shouldn't have signed, like Gundogan, or maybe he would have signed them, but not to give them the role that he has now. Bernardo Silva cannot play 3 games in 1 week either. Kevin De Bruyne is gone. There's a lot of things that have to change. So instead of him saying, you know what, that's it, sorry, somebody else will have to deal with this, he felt, OK, I built this. Actually, I feel I have the energy, and this was important, to actually start over. And the starting over started in January, obviously, with the new signings. But it's going to be very dramatic because he, as you said, he left Barcelona because he didn't want to do what he's about to do here, which is to get rid of some of the people that have won a lot for him. Project 3 has started. Today was about this is what we got. There was a fragile optimism after Newcastle, but quite clearly the limits are obvious. The lack of energy is obvious. The mistakes, the individual mistakes, how can you correct that? But generally, the impression that as a team is a team that cannot compete at this level, that's obvious. And now he doesn't know what happens next because, you know, nobody has got the formula for the perfect team, but he's going to give it a go.
It's great we all say this rebuilding. There's a lot of different things when you talk about rebuilding, especially in England with the whole PSR rule and everything that's going on. The Premier League has become very competitive. It's not that easy to do such a rebuild because their rebuild is not a very simple thing. It's a long process. Is he going to stay there long enough to win another Premier League title with how competitive the other clubs are in the Premier League, or win a Champions League? Until then, he does bow out.
Okay,
so that's the problem as well.
Let's do it then. From the starting 11 today, who do you keep? If you're rebuilding the team this summer, who out of the starting 11 stays?
You have to keep Guardiola would stay.
Guardiola will stay.
The new young kid, Kushanov.
Obviously, Haaland, and we know he's not in the starting line, but he is the focal
Haaland,
point, right?
Phil Foden. Malmouche, Guardiola, Kushanov, the young kid they've just signed.
Not as a right back.
Hopefully not as a right back. Hopefully he can play centre back. The one who plays centre midfield again today, sorry, name slips me.
Well, you're naming a lot of players. Guillaume said 7 or 8 guys that won't be there, right?
They're the new ones who've just come in.
Yeah, but they're going to get rid of Ederson's going to be out the door. He's going to, head over potentially to Saudi Arabia. You got Kevin De Bruyne is going to be out the door. Bernardo Silva is going to be out the door. So you're already looking at 3. I don't even have the...
Gonzalez will be the one who stays. And I think from that, you look at it. I think Jack Grealish is probably going to go. Doku will be another one that stays. Then you've got Rico Lewis, who's a youngster coming through. And
you'll keep Diaz. Keep Ruben Diaz, right, the centre back. Do you keep John Stones?
I don't know if you keep Rodri, you've got him coming back.
Rodri will be coming back. Yeah, I'm thinking about the rest of that lineup today. But those, I think, that's it.
That's it. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne,
I guess
all those old guards will probably have to...
The point we're making, though, is root and branch change. This isn't a team where you think, OK, well, if I can turn this side around, I'm going to keep, maybe 9 of the 11 and we go again next season. This is going to be big-time transfer market stuff.
That's my point about it. With all the rules and regulations coming in now with the players and the value and how you bring them in for the profit side of the club, it's not going to be simple. Because, again, these players are not just out there. He's done well with some of the recruiting and the players that he's gone and got, but it's a long process. I don't think people understand how long a process and how much of a big rebuild this is going to be at Man City. I don't personally believe it's going to be a quick fix and as easy as
200 million in January. We're talking about the rebuild in the summer is going to be what? What's that going to look like? You got to get rid of guys. You got to sign new guys.
But you're going to get millions off your books. Just think of the guys you're talking about in Ederson and De Bruyne. Like these are the highest paid players.
That's going to be some yard sale, isn't it?
Yeah. But I do think sale you got going on.
Listen, the people that will sit on the side of Pep that they're that will say the one negative to Pep is he spends a lot of money, right? And so to correct this issue, it's like we're talking about 200 million in the January, and what are we talking about in the summer transfer window? Another 400 or 500 million. I mean, that's insane.
It is insane. That's what I keep saying to people. Like, just be ready to. But you look at the lineup there. You got Rico Lewis, McAtee, Nunes will stay, Doku.
Gvardiol's been good this. I mean, I know he's
Guardiola will stay definitely.
He's been good this season.
But again, you look at that starting lineup there.
Gundogan, do they keep him?
Gundogan, I don't think so. I think
Silva and Gundogan go in this for sure. Ake's a guy I think you still keep around. I think he turned 30 today, right? Yeah. I think was his birthday today or yesterday.
Savinho will stay, and that's I'm telling you, it's a big project.
So I wanted to pick up on something he said in the pre-match press conference, which sort of surprised me a little bit, saying that we've got I think he said a 1% chance of winning that. As a player, when you hear your manager say something like that, isn't that a bit negative, Tony?
He's playing mind games, man. Yeah. He's a Pep guy. That's just mind games. He's saying it just.
But it doesn't feel the player. If you're playing for him, you're not feeling confident. If he says you've got a 1% chance, you're only 1 goal down.
I think sometimes for people outside of that environment, but sometimes people outside that environment, they don't know that these players. You work with this manager every single day. You have private conversations, so you know the personality is. So sometimes he might say something in the press, unless it's specifically about you. You just take it with a pinch of salt. So he's just playing mind games. So I don't think the players would ever been affected by his comment. Even he said it publicly. trust me, he'll be having a different message to his players behind closed doors.
Okay, I think so. I wouldn't have liked to hear it in a game of that magnitude, and you're not having a good time. You just get a win against Newcastle. Maybe you're starting to come back. I wouldn't have liked to hear that. But to me, we've seen Milan go to the Bernabeu, and it doesn't happen often, and beat Real Madrid. Milan, that's miles off the pace, 7th in the Serie A at the moment, just got knocked out to Feyenoord the other day. So upsets can happen in football, but to me, the whole performance was submissive. The performance was exactly what he said. It looked like they had 1% chance. It actually looked like less. The performance was submissive. They didn't put a game plan to win. They didn't have the energy to win. They didn't have the answers. They didn't have the responses. They didn't have anything to win the game. So for me, it was such a submissive performance, and the team looked miles off the pace. And we always say when a team plays well, the team looks like the manager. The team should look what the manager's characteristics are. It's a reflection of the manager. That team today in the Bernabeu reflected what Pep was. Mush, we have 1% chance of winning, no energy, and no answer for that. And I'm not saying there is an answer because Real Madrid were amazing, but submissive performance.
The counter argument to that is what people would say is, and which Pep leaves himself open to, is they were like, you have weapons on the bench. You could have started Doku. We know what Doku can be, and he can be a handful if he starts. I don't know if he's fit or not. I'm not talking about the fitness side of it. Let's just say that they're all fit. You had Grealish and you had Doku, who could have given you a complete different dynamic to a game that you are chasing away at the Bernabeu, which maybe made Mendy or Valverde have to defend more because Doku's very quick. Maybe he's quickly as Mbappe, but you didn't start him. So like Grella said, he's right. The team that he started could be a reflection of him.
You concede a goal 4 minutes into the game. The game's over after 4 minutes.
Especially at the Bernabeu, yeah.